What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be discussing some of the interesting comments that Patrick Beverly had to say in relation to the Chicago Bulls team and what they could have been if Patrick Beverly would have come to this team sooner. Now, at the end of the day, there's a lot of interesting things to talk about in relation to this topic, but it is all speculation. At the end of the day, a lot of people don't deal in hypotheticals, and look, when the Chicago Bulls are in, I guess, the regular season and stuff of that nature, I don't necessarily like to deal in hypotheticals. I like to look at what's in front of me and decipher my own opinion from there. But right now, what's in front of me is not the Chicago Bulls, it's the other teams in the NBA playoffs. In terms of the Chicago Bulls, it is extremely quiet. There's little to nothing to talk about in relation to the Bulls. So with that being said, it is probably okay at this point in time to deal with hypothetical situations and to provide hypothetical conversations that could lead to decisions being made in the offseason as well, heading into next season. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls. And the big question here is, what do you think the Bulls would have finished if we had Patrick Beverly at the beginning of the season or at some point during the trade period, I guess before the trade deadline finished? We got obviously Patrick Beverly in the buyout market. He was waived after he got traded, and yeah, he got waived, and then the Bulls picked him up from the buyout market and we used him in the post All-Star break. So again, that post-All-Star break was probably the best the Chicago Bulls have played. We went 14-9 during that period. You know, I know a lot of people know that. It's been, you know, advertised and talked about for a long time. The Bulls had a good end to the season, but ultimately, it still isn't really good enough for what we expect from the Chicago Bulls team and how we expected them to compete this season. Nevertheless, let's talk about what Patrick Beverly ended up saying. I guess to sum things up, because it's a quote that I'm really talking about here, Patrick Beverly said if he was to join this Chicago Bulls team any sooner than he actually did, that this Bulls team would have been a 4th or 5th seeded team in the Eastern Conference. Basically saying that we would have been a playoff team competing in the playoffs probably right now as we speak, and that's the type of caliber team that we had. Now, Chicago Bulls finished 10th in the Eastern Conference. We did win a play-in tournament game, the first 10-seeded team ever to win a play-in tournament game. Obviously, you know, the OKC Thunder won one a couple of hours later, so it's not a big accomplishment, but it's still one that we can own. But we didn't make it out of the play-in tournament. We lost to the Miami Heat, who are currently still competing in the NBA playoffs. And you're talking about a 4th or 5th seeded team. The New York Knicks are still competing in the Eastern Conference right now. They are obviously a team that finished within that range. So again, not out the realms of possibility, I guess, saying that we could have been that type of team. But let's be honest, that's the question here. Are we that type of team with Patrick Beverly? Well, there's a couple of things we got to dissect into that. For example, Patrick Beverly got traded from the trade deadline. The only way we could have got him any sooner is if we would have traded somebody. So it really comes down to who would we have traded to get Patrick Beverly into the team. Would it have been a key player? Would it be a guy like Tony Bradley that never played? Would it be picks? You don't know. So depending on what we actually would have got in return, or what we would be willing to give up for Patrick Beverly's signature, that's a whole conversation entirely. So I think that's the big point to take away right off the bat. That what we would have given up for Patrick Beverly, I'm assuming it could have been something of significance, could have shaped how the Bulls finished that season. So I'm not here to say with Patrick Beverly coming straight into the team, with everybody being the same, you know, that's a whole different conversation than what he actually said. But assuming everybody on this team was the same, and assuming Patrick Beverly came into this team and everything was exactly how it was during the post-All-Star break, the way that I see it is that this team would be better, but it wouldn't be a 4th or 5th seeded team in my eyes. I'm sorry, there are just too many offensive problems that the Chicago Bulls had to deal with that season. You know, I never thought our defense was a big problem, and it turned out to be one of our biggest attributes that season. Again, it was a complete seasons of opposites. Last season, or 2 seasons ago, our offense was the thing that we relied on heavily, and it was really, really good for us, and it helped us win a lot of games. This season, the defense was our biggest contributing factor. It was the biggest thing that we could take away from this season as a positive. Big steps for Patrick Williams on the defensive end. Alex Max Caruso, an All-NBA first-team player. Patrick Beverly, we all know what he can bring on the defensive end for the Chicago Bulls team. Zach LaVine arguably had his best defensive season this current season, and he even spoke about that a couple of months ago. Kobe White improved defensively. You know, there were so many good defensive performances from this Bulls team that the only big issues that we had was because we lack size. The actual ability to play defense was there from all of those guys, but we lacked the size, and that was our biggest issue. But offensively, there's too many problems, and that, in my opinion, replicates, or at least it represents to me, why the Chicago Bulls team would not be a 4th or 5th seeded team. To be a 4th or 5th seeded team, you need to have good qualities in offense and defense. At the end of the day, it is what it is. The inconsistency of our shooting, the stubbornness of some of our players to move the ball, our lack of ball movement from time to time, it was just all disappointing, and in the end, it didn't reflect well on the Chicago Bulls team, and it's why we struggled to score in so many big games. It's also why we failed in the clutch as many times as we did. We were known for a clutch team 2 seasons ago. We're coming into this season, DeMar DeRozan is still considered one of the clutchest players in the league, but outside of DeMar DeRozan, this team failed in the clutch. This team did not perform well in close games. We always lost close games. So again, I disagree with the fact that Patrick Beverly said that we'd be a 4th or 5th seeded team. The way that I see it, we could have been a 6th seeded team, because again, the 6th seeded team was extremely close to the play-in tournament in my eyes, or we would have been a higher up play-in team. We could have finished maybe around the 8th or 7th seed with Patrick Beverly in this team. I do not think we would have jumped from 10th to 4th. Just in my opinion, it's not realistic to expect that from this Bulls team that was minus 500 majority of the season, and with Patrick Beverly was 14-9. In the small sample size, of course, that we got to see him play. I understand that he's a competitor, and of course, he has to believe these things because he needs to believe in himself, and he needs to believe the team that he plays for also believes in that things. I'm not saying what he's saying is, I guess, unjustifiable for him. I'm just saying from my perspective and the way that I see things, I just can't see this team taking that massive leap with Patrick Beverly at the beginning of the season, even if everything stayed the same. We had the exact same team, the exact same lineups, the exact same minutes, the exact same rotations, and the exact same struggles. All of those things, in my opinion, results to us being better, but not as good as the way that Patrick Beverly may have perceived this team. But all in all, it's a hypothetical situation, I guess. All I can do here is express my opinion on the matter, as Patrick Beverly has, and he has every right to do that and believe that, and I guess I have every right to do and believe that myself. But I hope the players believe in Patrick Beverly's side as well. These players need to believe that they're good, and they need to show it on the court. I'm not really, I guess, in the mindset of bashing these players right now, but I'm just thinking the way, the problems that we had were just so big, you know? The size was a big problem for the Bulls. The three-point shooting was a big problem for the Bulls. Even the point guard position and the playmaking from that point guard position was a big problem for the Bulls. And Patrick Beverly coming into this team did fix some of those areas. I think he fixed elements of playmaking. He had the ball in his hands a lot more with the Chicago Bulls team than he did with any other team that he's played with. He had more ball handling responsibilities, and that's why his playmaking numbers rose with the Chicago Bulls team. That makes sense. He helped in that department. He obviously helped on the defensive end. He added more toughness into this team rather than athleticism. He was a tougher player that was willing to get under the skin of players. But at the end of the day, the problems offensively that we had, Patrick Beverly did not fix all of them. And that's why I do not think the Chicago Bulls team would have been any better than a higher up play-in tournament team or just escaping the play-in tournament. Exactly how I kind of felt we were two seasons ago when Lonzo Ball got hurt. That was our level, and that's how I believe our level would have been this season. So, look, again, I don't mean to be a downer, but I have to be honest, and that's the honesty that I'm providing in this video. But I'm okay with Patrick Beverly, my apologies, believing otherwise, and I'm happy if the players themselves believe otherwise, and I'm very okay if the fans believe otherwise as well. If you guys, in watching this video, or if you see the quotes and you had your own opinion on it, if you feel that he's right, then look, time will tell. I think if Patrick Beverly stays here, or this team remains the same to an extent, and Patrick Beverly believes that and it ends up happening, great. But of course, the way that I see this season going, or what it went through, I just can't believe it in my eyes. But I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments below. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Do you agree with Patrick Beverly? Do you agree with me? Do you have your own opinion on the situation? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.